And now, ladies and gents, it's highlight reel time. I have chosen 29 hands for your viewing pleasure. They are ordered from smallest to biggest. Some of the hands pretty much play themselves, but many of them also offer some interesting strategic insight. So here we go, off the top. This first one is at Zoom 500. We have an easy free bet from the small blind with my nice double-suited 6-high rundown. I get min 4-bet by the villain pretty deep and go for the call. We naturally flop quads and go for the check call. The turn plan is the same. But villain doesn't oblige. I go for a strong river lead to get the max out of aces, but get raised. Villain's sizing did throw me off a little, even though I have the most trivial shove of all time. It's 700 more to him. He calls it off and shows the rivered top boat. I imagine he put me on aces, but I think once I 3-bet the river, it's not aces anymore. More Zoom 500. I go for the cutoff call with the double-suited ace-7-5-3. Big blind with a deep stack, just as mine, goes for the squeeze four-handed. PFR calls, I call, and the small blind completes. Get a very nice flop with bottom pair plus nut flush draw plus nut gutter. Definitely shoveling chips in. Checks to me. I stab. And the squeezer goes ahead and check calls. I bink the nut straight on the turn. Villain checks to me. I naturally value bet. And villain shoves. This is pretty much the dream scenario for me, obviously. I call it off. Board pairs on the river. But it doesn't matter as villain was drawing dead from the turn. It's an interesting line by him. He decided to check call with the second nut flush draw, then decided to shove the turn with his blocker to the nut straight. He did have some okay backdoor straight potential and was no doubt looking to realize that. But I think given the two short stacks in the hand, he should really just be leading the flop, stacking off with them, and folding to a raise by me. It's going to be very hard for him to realize his equity with this line, and he has very poor visibility. Now we move on to 5-10. Pretty standard squeeze. Shorty PFR folds. But the button does give me action. Flop the second nut flush draw with a backdoor nut flush draw. Standard c-bet, I get floated. We're roughly 300 big blinds deep. Turn is a very bad card for me and my range. I check it to villain, who stabs. I have a blocker to the nuts to go with my second nut flush draw, a very similar hand to the villain from the previous hand. Now, given ranges, it's extremely likely that villain will be stabbing at this turn almost every time with his range. The stacks are perfect for going for a check jam call. I do go for it and run into the top of villain's range. Bink my flush on the river. Villain shows the turn nuts. He was floating me with a double gutter on the flop.